is here for you.
Hi, my dear Astro family. So today we are going to carry on with our 2026 interpretations. So I've prepared a video about Jupiter in Leo making a trine to Saturn as well as Neptune. So to get the full picture, you might want to be listening to those videos. And today we are going to be looking at a Jupiter and Pluto opposition that is also happening in 2026. So obviously, this is going to be a very important aspect. Now, I'd like to mention that this is going to be happening once, the opposition between them two. But what's also important is that Jupiter trying to Neptune and the Jupiter opposition to Pluto actually will be happening one day apart. Now, the other reason why we are talking about this aspect is because in October, we already have got the two planets within orb. And it's only going to be within orb approximately about October, November. And then from 2026 June till about 2026 August, this is actually going to be quite a prominent aspect. And the next opposition will be happening between them two in 2038, September 25th. So that's, of course, just once in a kind of lifetime opportunity, not once in a lifetime opportunity, but it's going to be happening only once, of course. So you can see that they are going to be forming an opposition every about 13 years. Okay, so the aspect between October and November, it's not going to get exact. Okay, this is going to be an out of sign opposition, but I do know some of you do use out of sign aspects. I'm not a big fan of them, especially not with trines and sextiles, but maybe that's another topic when we can kind of talk about that. Okay, so the opposition is going to be happening on 4 degree of Aquarius to 4 degree of Leo, and Neptune will be on 4 degree as well, and Uranus will be 4 degree also. So the very first thing I would like you to do is check out if you have got any planets on 4 degree, almost any of the signs really. So it doesn't matter where it is in your chart, it must be on 4 degree. You might want to give plus minus 1 degree on each side, so 3 to 5 degree. But if you have got any planet on 4 degree, then 2026 is one of the most important year of your life. This might not only be your natal planet, but it can be a progressed solar arc planet as well. Even if you have got any planets in your solar return chart on 4 degree of any of the signs. Okay? So if you would like to get a bit more clarity about how the year ahead of you might look like, then you can get actually a yearly report. It's about $33 if I'm doing the conversion properly. And you will get about 2.5 3 hour long report for your rising sign, but you can choose your sun sign, your moon sign as well. It's up to you. Or you can have a personal reading with me. And if you would like to study with me potentially, then I've got a very good course coming up. It's going to be super detailed. It's going to be about house rulerships. So I am going to be walking you through each house ruler in each houses. And this is going to be no superficial information. It's going to be in depth. So within one lecture, we're going to be looking at most likely 3 or 4 house positions of a planet. This is the bread and butter of astrology. If you want to do good forecasting, this is a must. If you want to have great interpretation skills, this is a must. Okay, so I hope to see you there. And in September, I'm going to be holding a couple of very interesting webinars as well. One of them is how many ascendants do we have? You might be wondering we only have got one, but actually we can have up to 4 ascendant. So I'm going to walk you through the 4 ascendant in one of the webinars. I think that is taking place this weekend. So let me just tell you exactly what the day is in case you want to be checking that out. That's going to be happening on the 6th of September, but slides and the recording will be available. Okay, let's get going with this Jupiter and Pluto opposition. I mean, first of all, Jupiter is the amplifier and Pluto is the power. So this is going to be amplifying the themes of power and control. Jupiter has got this expanding energy to it in a very proud, very self-expressive sign of Leo, and it has got a clash with Pluto's intense, deep-seated power, in that community-orientated or in the innovative sign of Aquarius. So that is going to create a push and pull between the desire for, like, let me be person, like, let me be great, and the powerful currents of the societal evolution. So, on a personal level, this is a strong urge to express our unique talents. It's the aspect of ambition. We will meet, unfortunately, external forces here, like a group or a movement or even technology that challenge us to evolve or potentially face a crisis. This can expose where a person's ego or desire for control is out of alignment with the greater good. So it's about purging old ideas, even identities, that no longer serve your true purpose. Now, on a global scale, this might talk to us about political or social upheavals. So we might see charismatic leaders rising, or we might be seeing some powerful collective movements or technological forces that expose their flaws, or people are going to be challenging authority figures. It's a period where the power of the individual is pretty much tested by the will of people, because Aquarius is kind of like the sign of marching. So yes, this could talk to us about, unfortunately, um, demonstrations, issues related to control, wealth, technological ethics. All these topics could be coming to the forefront. I think it's a call to align your personal ambitions with the needs of the collective. So basically, what it means is that we're going to have to go with the flow, right? So, I mean, we can use our own power to make a positive change, both in our lives as well as in other people's life. Or maybe we are facing a very painful breakdown of old structures and beliefs. So let me give you some scenarios that I can imagine, and I'm going to be giving you positive and negative scenarios as well, so we are in balance, as well as I'm going to give you some scenarios connected to the global and political experiences involved, particularly with this aspect. So let's start with the personal experiences. I think Jupiter in Leo is all about visionary leadership, and Pluto is the planet of influence. So this is about using your confidence to lead a movement, a community towards shared goals. So it's about seeing the bigger picture, inspiring others, feeling inspired, for example, to open my own business, to be wealthy. Jupiter and Pluto aspects are really about like the millionaires combo, but I'm going to talk about that slightly bit later on. Jupiter in Leo is super creative. It's kind of like the artist. And, with Pluto, this could show a breakthrough in our work. I mean, Jupiter in Leo, as well as Pluto, it's about authenticity. And Pluto forces us to purge the old, certain type of like styles, and embracing a new, more powerful form of that creative expression, something that might be resonating with the wide audience. Like, I might like a certain type of music, for example, but if no one is hungry for it, then maybe I'm gonna have to change my style. Of course, if I want to make money out of it. Pluto does bring a lot of healing into our life as well. It brings empowerment. So, with Pluto, we might be experiencing some trauma and crises. And maybe we can use our own stories to inspire others because Jupiter in Leo is all about being on the stage. So, therefore, we can become a public speaker, an advocate, a leader, someone who guides others through similar struggles. It's about turning our pain into strength, and of course, it becomes a wisdom. And then once it has become a wisdom, we can use that wisdom to kind of motivate others as well. Like I said, Jupiter and Pluto is really about money cycles. This is a risky movement. So there could be like taking a risk on an innovative, maybe community focused project. And the result could be a tremendous financial success. And, Jupiter in Leo is the inflated ego as well, which might sound negative, but also if we don't have that ego, we all have got the ego. What I mean is the confidence, of course, then we're going to have to find that confidence somewhere. So therefore, this aspect can really talk to us about the redefined sense of self as well. You go through this major shift in your core beliefs about who you are, what you are capable of. Pluto is the planet of like your inherited talents, your secret talents, something that you might not be aware of, and you're going to have to be able to, of course, find it. Negatively speaking, this could bring a lot of ego-driven power struggles. I mean, there is this ambition, which is all driven by the ego. And it's kind of like with Pluto, the all or nothing type of attitude. So this can become very vicious as well. Maybe it's a struggle with a group, with friends or organizations, because one wants to dominate the other. And both Pluto and Jupiter are very domineering. And with Leo, it gets exposed. So there is a public exposure happening here. Or Jupiter represents excess. I mean, this inflated sense of self-importance and the desire for more, this could be leading to disruptive behaviors. Like, I'm gonna gamble. I'm gonna be spending like there is no tomorrow. I'm gonna pursue the power at any costs. And maybe it's about the loss of friends eventually. Also, there could be a lot of fanaticism or dogma with this as well. I mean, Jupiter represents your belief systems, and both of them are in fixed signs. So that's where the dogmatism could be coming from. And therefore, I'm not willing to listen. I don't care about others. I've got a rigid worldview. I don't want to go through this renewal. And therefore, eventually we are going to be forced to transform somehow, or simply, you can resist the personal change, or you are yearning to experience a personal change. But with an opposition, often there is a external event. And with Pluto, it's a crisis. So that crisis situation, which might be just fears and insecurities, but with Jupiter in Leo becomes dramatic, most likely super painful. Now, on a global level, what I can imagine is that there is going to be a social reform going on. I mean, Jupiter in Leo is a public figure, and then, it can inspire a mass movement to dismantle any outdated or corrupt systems. Therefore, it leads to a restructuring of the society, and hopefully it would bring a greater equality or social justice. I mean, technological advancements, that's given, and we all know we're going to see that, trying to solve a global crisis, maybe a new form of energy or medical cure is developed. We have been speaking about that for a very long time, and surely we're going to see that. So I don't think I'm saying anything new there. But oppositions can represent alliances as well. So hopefully we're going to see these global alliances for a common cause, like the powerful nations or leaders, kind of like setting aside their individual interest, and then they kind of form this global coalition, maybe to address a shared threat, or maybe it's just, something that is affecting the collective, such as climate change or a pandemic and so forth. I mean, a new art movement, we can expect that as well. It's kind of like something cultural, something viral, and then that's going to be sweeping the globe, basically. And potentially there could be exposure of hidden truth and inequality and status quo as well, and maybe exposing corporate and governmental corruptions also. So this altogether is kind of like a whistleblower type of aspect. And of course, that could lead to a public outrage. Negatively speaking, I can imagine there are ideological conflicts going on, opposing ideologies. So Jupiter is the ideology and Pluto is opposing that. So I don't agree with your ideology, right? The fixed signs are indication of rigid stuff, and then Pluto brings in the element of violence here. So there could be civil unrest, political polarizations, unfortunately, civil war as well, because each parties are super convinced they are absolutely right. I mean, this could talk to us about the abuse of power, where a world leader is abusing their own power, and this way they are trying to control the people. And obviously, that might be a red flag of like against humanitarian rights, basically. There could be a lot of propaganda, like social media outlets, for example, create a crisis scenario, something that is widespread, or social media is being used to manipulate, the masses. And unfortunately, there could be nuclear and global threats connected to that as well. This could talk to us about military dominance, national pride with Jupiter in Leo, and maybe it's the development of certain type of weapons, and because Pluto is a very destructive force. Now, what's worth talking about is that the initial cycle of Jupiter and Pluto started in Capricorn. I believe we had one in 2020 April. We had three conjunctions between them two anyway. So that's also true for your natal chart as well. Now, the conjunctions between Jupiter and Pluto happen between 22 to 24 degree of Capricorn. So if you don't have any planets on 4 degree, but you have got planets in the cardinal signs, such as Capricorn, Aries, Libra, and Cancer, on 22 degree, then this is actually a very important year for you. I do have got Mercury, for example, the ruler of my fourth house and seventh house, in the sign of Capricorn. So that Jupiter-Pluto conjunction took place on it. I don't have any planets on 4 degree. Well, I do have actually Saturn in Scorpio, but if I didn't have Saturn on 4 degree, it still would be a super important year because that's the seeding point there. So we planted the seeds there. Okay, so the cycle began when the two planets are conjoining. They did in the sign of Capricorn. The Capricorn is about structure and authority and institutions. So this would show that the globally or institutionally, we have gone through a transformation. It's the expansion of the power. There could be a lot more focus on the governments, corporations, established systems. I mean, we did see global institutional shakeups. Let's just be frank about it. Of course, the pandemic. We saw societal structures, remote work, lockdowns. Then, I think the centralized power started rising as well. I mean, there was a lot of exposure of systematic flows as well. So I don't want to go into the history because potentially we all know. But how does this opposition affect it? Because opposition is a climax of the cycle. So, the themes set in motion during the conjunctions are now reaching a head, creating a crisis point that demands resolution. So, if the Capricorn conjunction was about the creation of a new, more powerful and restructured system, then actually we're going to start seeing in 2026 that this system might not be working. We need to be a lot more creative about it. It's with Capricorn, it was a systematic control. And then now it feels like it's more to do with the individual response. So therefore, maybe something is backlashing here. The power that was centralized is now being questioned or challenged by the masses or even ego-driven leaders. That's Leo. Or, an opposition is always about confrontation. So the new structures and power dynamics that have or had happened, kind of like, let's say, a surveillance or corporate consolidations or all this type of stuff can be in direct conflict with human rights or the individuality, the communities. It's somehow the leader versus the people. And there is a tension here. So to summarize on this, phase one is a conjunction in Capricorn, and then the phase two is the opposition in Leo and Aquarius. They are interconnected. By the way, this aspect could talk to us about a death of a leader as well. Jupiter in Leo signifies someone charismatic, powerful, a larger than life figure, a leader, a king, a celebrity, a public person. And Pluto in Aquarius represents the power of the collective. Pluto rules death, rebirth, deconstruction. So there could be a death of a leader. I can imagine, it might be just an end of an era for a leader. Okay. So therefore, it's not necessarily a physical death, but someone who is going to leave the throne, for example, or someone who gets exposed and we start seeing the corruption there, or physically, it can actually indicate physical death as well, though. Like I said, maybe a death of the leader could be the result of a crisis or a secret being exposed about them. So scandal or a hidden disease or certain type of conspiracy could come to light as well at the time of their death. And like I said, it could represent metaphorical death as well. So someone's reputation is basically killed. I can imagine there is going to be a lot of changes around how we travel. I mean, Jupiter rules long distance travels and exploration. Leo represents luxury, exclusive, high profile travel. So think of private jets or high speed rail for the elites. And Pluto in Aquarius Aquarius is about technology and something that is non-traditional. So I can imagine that it's a new era of high-speed travel. Um, so rail networks, hypersonic flights, or even the new modes of urban transport. Something radically different that what we know right now. That's a type of death as well, right? Because something gets replaced, basically. And I can even imagine that, a lot more control and surveillance in travel. So maybe radical changes to visa processes, border control, the biometric data, digital passports, Global surveillance system can be put in place. Jupiter and Pluto together is the big brother type of syndrome. And I can imagine like a rise of a new class, like hyper luxurious, exclusive travel experiences for the wealthy and the powerful. I can also imagine such thing too. Okay, so very briefly, guys, this is my interpretation on the upcoming Jupiter and Pluto. In the next episode, we are going to be looking at Jupiter and Uranus as well to see the full picture. Well, do you let me know in the chat box below if you have got any questions on any of these materials, because I can make a follow-up video. Actually, I might schedule a live Q&A session on YouTube, and then you guys can catch up on this aspect once we've gone through all the Jupiterian aspects. So we only have got the Uranus aspect left. Yes, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a Q&A session after. So, see you guys very soon. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video and make a comment and share it with others. Let my channel grow. Thank you very much. Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Through every sign and every house, a journey starts and we allow the universe so vast and true. Astro Viktor, it's here for you.